All right, sometimes getting started is the hardest part. In this video, I'm gonna talk about how to buy your first apartment complex, why you wanna do this now, and do not wait. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, but if you're not back 20 years ago, the best time is now. Buy the apartment complex now. All right, guys, hang with me. In this video, I'm gonna talk about 10 different ways to buy an apartment complex. All right, step number one, let's talk about the easiest, fastest way and one of the number one things that you can scale, and that is mailing apartment owners. I recommend using my partners over at landofferletter.com and sending them a postcard, a very simple postcard that I'm gonna give you today as my free gift. And this postcard is I've actually purchased tens of millions of dollars worth of real estate with it. Not just apartments, but houses, commercial buildings, 36-acre parcels of land, you name it, we've used this postcard to buy these things with it. And it's very easy to automate and delegate. So I have 3 rules in business, and one is deletion. That's basically getting things off your plate that shouldn't be on your plate. Either it's just not needed, or it's a redundant task, or something that could be basically automated. So then there's automation. That's when a computer or a system or a process happens automatically, whether you're sleeping or working. And then number 3, delegation. Delegation can be given to somebody else on your team, because ultimately, as a business owner, you can't be doing everything. You can't be wearing all the hats. You know, I understand bootstrapping from the very beginning and starting up your business to buy your apartment complexes, but ultimately, you're gonna have to bring a team around you to support you, and I call these partners. I don't call them employees. Like, no one works for me. They work with me, and we have a common goal. So that's deletion, automation, delegation, or hey, this sounds a little better. Deletion, delegation, automation, but I like to automate before I delegate it, if that makes sense. You never want to automate something that completely be gotten rid of, and you never want to delegate something that could have already been deleted or automated. So deletion, automation, delegation. Remember that. That's going to take you very far in your business. All right, so you've already pulled the list, and you pulled this list of property or apartment complex owners or multifamily owners. You might be thinking, where in the world do I even get this list? I'm going to give you the best place to get a list for a very minimal cost. And I'm going to give you a place that's going to give you a 7-day free trial, and that's by going to the landsharkslist.com. That's the landsharkslist.com. You're going to get a free trial. You can start pulling multifamily or apartment complexes, high equity, notice of default, all the lists that you can possibly think about to start finding multifamily apartment complex properties. All right, so you can use this list you're going to purchase from the Landsharks list. You can use it to mail, but next best thing I want to talk about is cold calling these lists. And I don't like the word cold call. It's a little chilly, actually. It's a little like cold and intrusive. I prefer impact calling. Impact calling is when you're calling to make an impact on someone's life, usually for the better. So we're calling these sellers to make an impact on their life, to buy the burdens, the monkey off their back, the weight on their shoulders. And these are apartment complexes, because apartment complexes, you can either love them or you can hate them. The reason why sellers usually hate them is because they've done piss poor management for many, many years, and now it's all catching up to them. All right, the third way to buy apartment complexes is actually going out and meeting the owners of these apartment complexes. How do you find the owners? It's very simple. You can have your virtual assistant do this, or you can do this in the middle of the night when your kids go to bed. Rather than watching Netflix and paying them to watch it, maybe you can start making money for your own self and your family and doing things that are gonna allow you to find multifamily or apartment complexes to buy. So start looking up these apartment complexes. Maybe you know of one that's a triplex or a 4-unit or maybe even a 5-unit. Look it up on the county assessor site. You can Google your city county assessor and start individually pulling up properties and see who the owner is of this apartment complex. And if you notice they live in the same city as you do, and they have a mailing address of 123 Main Street, look it up. Pull up 123 Main Street on Google. See if it's a UPS box or maybe a post office box, or hey, maybe they have the mail going directly to where they live, and you can go knock on that door one day on a Saturday afternoon when you're not at work and just strike up a conversation and says, hey, I know I just stopped by out of the blue, but I was just wondering if you were the owner of 123 Main Street apartment complex. And just be prepared. They're going to throw their defenses up, and they're going to be like, well, yeah, maybe. Who's asking? It's okay. I'm not the bank. I'm actually a local investor looking to buy another apartment complex. Or, hey, I'm looking to get started. And you might think, well, I don't want to tell them I'm just getting started. Let me tell you what. most people are willing to help someone just getting started. Or, hey, I was hoping you could help me out. I'm just getting started in real estate. I noticed you're the owner of 123 Main Street apartment complex. Would you ever consider selling it? And just strike up a conversation and just be prepared to follow up and touch base. Not everybody's gonna wanna sell to you, but here's the thing. If you talk to enough apartment complex owners, you're gonna find one that's off market. And let me just tell you, if it's on the market, if it's on the MLS, you're gonna pay too much for it unless you're planning on just the long run, or maybe you're gonna use your VA loan to just get into a property. That's fine as long as you're planning on the long run, because you're gonna have to plan on appreciation, the market going up, mortgage pay down, and then also something that no one ever talks about is depreciation, actually using it as a tax write-off or cost segregation. Talk to your CPA about this. I'm no accountant. All right, next let's talk about how to find the money to buy these apartment complexes. But before I do, I want you to hit that like button on here. That shows the YouTube algorithm that I know what I'm talking about, and I really appreciate it when you do that because it helps me on this channel and it tells me I'm in the right direction. So thank you so much for hitting that like button. All right, let's talk about getting the funding for an apartment complex. Now, if you're a veteran or you're married to a veteran or you served or maybe you're actively serving, you can use something called the VA loan. You can buy up to 4 units with your VA loan. And people tell me all the time, well, Brent, I've already used my VA loan. Well, move 60 miles into a fourplex and move into that fourplex and buy this thing and live there for at least 6 months. Now, read the guidelines. They're always changing. You never want to commit mortgage fraud, but just understand what you're getting into. A lot of times you can have multiple VA loans, and Florida just took off the cap of their VA loan. So I wish when I was getting started, I would have used my VA loan to purchase a fourplex. Well, maybe you don't have a VA loan. Well, look into conventional or FHA. Now, also, local banks love their community. Local small credit unions, local banks that are usually owned by the local people, they want to see the community thrive. So if you come in with a plan saying, I'm going to fix up this unit, I'm going to replace the roof, I'm going to rip out all the bad siding and replace it with T111, or we're going to stucco it and we're going to paint it and make it look beautiful and plant trees outside. If you come to them with the concept, a plan, maybe pay someone on Upwork.com or Fiverr. You can get these things done for like $5. Take a picture of the front of the house and pay someone to give you a remodel look so you can take it to the bank and show them what it's going to look like, because banks love this. They want to see their community grow, because as the community grows, they have more members, more people borrowing money, and ultimately the banks make money for you to borrow from them. All right, I skipped over number 5. That was conventional loan, and that was FHA loan. Now number 6, that is seller carryback. What is a seller carryback? That is another word for seller financing. Oftentimes, guys, you can come to the seller and give them a down payment, and then they will hold the rest of the financing as a carryback. And I like to say, I'm going to give you principal payments, and I'm going to give you a little bit higher payment each month. That way, my balance goes down faster. I love principal payments, AKA 0% interest. I'm actually purchasing 3 lots right now in Florida, and I'm coming with $6,000 down for each one of these lots. The seller is going to hold another $30,000 financing for me for these lots. So he's going to hold $30,000 principal only payments, and my payments are going to be $800 a month. $800 a month is going to come off that balance every single month off of that $30,000. And then I'm going to have a 2-year balloon payment. Then I'm going to have to pay the balance. Now, at the end of 24 months times $800 a month, that adds up pretty well, and it comes off the balance. So I love principal only payments. I don't like paying interest, and neither your seller doesn't really care about it either, as long as they get a high enough payment each month. All right, next is partner with the seller. I talk about this in several of my other videos, how to buy your first multifamily home. I talk about it in this video about how I partnered with the seller on a triplex. Partnering with the seller is one of the best kept secrets. No one is doing it. No one is talking about it. You too can do it. So I hope you've subscribed to this channel, you've liked this video here, and you're checking out that video, how to buy your first multifamily. All right, number 8 is lease option. You can actually lease the entire apartment complex for a year to where you're in charge of getting the other free vacant units rented out, or maybe they're already rented out. You can lease it with the option to buy 12 months later. This gives you time to line up financing. It gives you time to build rent rolls. It gives you time to improve the property, to increase the rent so that a bank will want to finance you. Remember I talked about having someone on Fiverr or Upwork and drawing a concept of painting the front of that building? You can get that thing painted. You can start planning plans and improve that property and then ultimately buy it 12 months from now. And you might say, Brent, well, what if I improve the property and I can't buy it 12 months from now? Well, what if? Like, you can what if all over yourself. But if you just start taking action, improving that property, improving the rents, improving the rent rolls, you're gonna make that property worth a lot more. You can force that appreciation. And then oftentimes, if you look at real estate in the last few years, it has appreciated on average 6% per year over the years. So if that thing appreciates by 6%, plus you drive up rents by a certain percentage and you beautify the property, you paint it, you do all these things, this might be sweat labor. It might take your nights and your weekends for a year, but imagine having a good deal on an apartment complex. And if you did that one time a year for 30 years, you'd have 30 of these things by the time you retire. Let's just say you're 30 years old now, you're 30 years old. By the time you're 60, imagine having 30 multifamily properties. All right, step number 9 is do whatever the heck it takes to figure out how to put these multifamily deals together, bring in partners, bring in family, bring in friends, you name it. You don't have to own the entire pie. You can get a small percentage of the pie. Maybe you don't have any money. Maybe you're gonna bring the deal together and just take a small percentage just to do the deal and manage the deal. Imagine if you do 10 of these and you get 20% of each one of these deals, 20% just by putting it together. 20 times 10, imagine the numbers like you're gonna have. And then eventually you can go to a bank and show them your track record and you can get all the funding you'll ever need. So number 9, do whatever it takes to start getting a small percentage of ownership on these deals. All right, number 10, the last way to purchase an apartment complex is by using a hard money loan. Buying that thing, buying it, and then renovating it, and then renting the units out to good tenants. And it's managed by a good property manager, and then refinancing that loan from that high interest rate to that hard money lender all the way down to 2, 3, 4% and cash flowing like a maniac and living life on your dreams, your terms, and having financial freedom and time freedom, and heck, even geography freedom. You can do this from anywhere in the world. So guys, as promised, I told you I gave you that free gift, and that is my postcard that's brought me in tens of millions of dollars worth of real estate, and that postcard can be found by going to thelandsharks.com/postcard.